like to invite everybody to rise and stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance in honor of our flag and country.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and I'd like to read our mission statement.
We have to do roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry, roll call. I'm sorry, page too far ahead.
Ms. Slattery?
Here.
Mr. Heather?
Here.
Mr. Detzel? Mr. Gilbert?
Here.
Mrs. Talby?
Here. Now I'll read the mission statement. The Northwest Local School District will create a responsive learning community where all students are valued, challenged, and guided along a pathway to success. And now if I could get a motion to approve the agenda
So moved.
in a second.
Second.
All right, and we will have a special recognition for the Ohio High School History Teacher of the Year.
So at this time, we'd like to bring up the Sons. Did it
The
pass?
votes register?
I didn't see them.
Oh, it didn't come on. Sorry. I apologize.
Sorry, technical difficulties.
Did it let you put in the?
No, it's not letting.
Does she have permissions to call the vote?
Yeah, it shows that she put in the motion in the second. It's just not.
It's up there now.
There it is.
Okay.
All right, and that passes 4-0.
Now we actually have 4 special presentations. We're going to start with the Sons of the American Revolution, who are going to, or the Sons of the American Revolution, who are going to come up, and they're going to recognize one of our teachers as the Ohio History Teacher of the Year, and we're very excited for this honor.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for having us. I'm Scott Freeman. I'm the president of the Cincinnati chapter, Sons of the American Revolution. I'd like to introduce the gentleman to my left is George Stewart. He's past president, and he's the chairman of our American History Contest Committee. And to my left is Bob Bowers, and he's our secretary and the chairman of our youth education programs. So I'll turn it over to George Stewart to present the award.
Good evening, everyone. The Sons of American Revolution honors Revolutionary War patriot ancestors by promoting patriotism, serving the communities, educating and inspiring future generations about the founding principles of our country. We are a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization. As one of the largest male societies in the country, the SAR boasts over 37,000 active members and over 550 chapters across the United States. There are 23 chapters in the state of Ohio, and the Cincinnati chapter is the second largest with over 280 members. Each year, our national headquarters holds the Tom and Betty Lawrence American History Teacher Contest. This contest is open to all American history teachers in middle school and high school levels that recognize public, private, and parochial institutions. This contest aims to recognize and awards outstanding educators who distinguish themselves in classroom teaching their students on the founding principles of our country. And we're here tonight to recognize one of these educators. Mr. Doug Fricker is an advanced placement government teacher at Northwest High School. And we reached out to him and explained the contest to him, and he enthusiastically applied. And Doug, I'd like to present you with your chapter award, which is a certificate you can hang at your classroom, and a monetary award of $200. I am the state chairman also of this contest, and I'm proud to announce that Doug also won our contest as the Ohio Society Sons of American Revolution High School Teacher of the Year. He will receive his award in May, and right now his application is being considered at the national headquarters in Louisville, Kentucky. We will not know the winners of those contests till late March or April, so I'll keep you informed. But Doug, thank you, sir.
On behalf of the Cincinnati chapter, I have one other award to present to Mr. Ficker. This is Bronze Good Citizenship Medal. SAR presents this award at all levels of the organization. It's bronze because we're presenting it at the chapter level. It doesn't correspond to third place or anything like that. But it's to recognize public service and good citizenship in a variety of fields, including education and in the schools. And so I'm pleased to award you with the Bronze Good Citizenship Medal.
And we got one little item here. My wife was a teacher here in the Northwest School District for 25 years. And she couldn't do anything until she had 4 cups of coffee in the morning before she got right to school. So, Doug, I'd like to present you with a personalized coffee mug with your name on it. So every morning you'll recognize us when you get up in the morning. Okay? Thank you again, sir. This contest is open to any middle school or high school social studies or educator teacher. So I'll ask you to keep your eyes open for me, okay? And he has all my information. Thank you.
I just want to say thanks to George for contacting me. I never would have known about this. He contacted me last fall and really highly suggested that I do this. So I want to thank you very much for that. And I also want to thank my wife. She's over there taking videos. She encouraged me to get into teaching in the first place, so none of this would have happened without you.
And Doug, we want to thank you because in our district, when people say Doug Ficker, they know it's social studies, they know it's high school government, and your name is synonymous with that. So the fact that you now have this award with your name is fitting to you as an educator in this district, and we are lucky to have you.
Thank you. I really dislike being the center of attention, so this is very unusual for me. So I just kind of keep my head low and do my job. So it is nice to be recognized. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we will move from high school social studies to middle school orchestra. We have Ms. Case here tonight, who is the orchestra teacher at Corey Middle School, and she and some of her students are going to describe for us the orchestra program.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Corey Middle School. Mrs. Case is a little raspy tonight, so I'm going to start with her blurb, and then she'll introduce these fine young people who are going to share with us a little bit about one of their recent experiences. Each year, the Ohio Music Educators Association hosts an event for young musicians with advanced skills. Students are selected by their orchestra director based on their dedication, skill level, and positive attitude in class. Students from all over the Cincinnati area gather to rehearse and perform challenging music under the direction of a guest conductor. This year, the Honors Orchestra was conducted by Dr. Gottlieb, a professor at UC's College Conservatory of Music. With only 2 days to rehearse, these students spend their Friday evening and Saturday morning working as a large ensemble and in small sectionals. During the sectional time, students have the opportunity to learn from professional clinicians to improve their tone, accuracy, and overall skills needed to perform the advanced music. These students leave this experience with new friendships and a renewed sense of the joy music brings to their lives. Mrs. Case, would you like to introduce the students?
We have quite a few that aren't able to be here tonight, but we ended up sending 13, which is a pretty large number for our size. We had Carl, Charlotte, Melanie, Raul, and Jacob. Those were our violinists. So Jacob and Raul are here with us tonight. Stormy, Amani, Reese, and Callie were our viola players. Luke, Kinley, Sophia were our cello players, and Genesis was our bass player. So Stormy's going to come up and share a little bit, and then Amani's going to share on behalf of Luke, and Genesis will follow up. Thank you.
Hello, I am Stormy Wagner, and I'm an eighth grade student here at Colerain Middle School. I'm very thankful for being able to experience Honors Orchestra for 2 years in a row. It was a very fun and educational experience. We learned many new techniques on how to play our music. Last year, I met someone from Princeton, and we ended up staying friends in contact for a long time. So now we're here.
Hi everyone, I'm Imani and I'm also in 8th grade. This was my first year in Honors Orchestra and I really enjoyed it and I'm very honored to be part of a program like this. It's something kids look forward to for this whole year and it's so fun. But when I first looked at the itinerary, it looked a little long, but when I actually got there and played, saw all the other people from different schools, it was actually a really fun experience and I'm really glad that I was able to be a part of it this year.
I'm Genesis, and I experienced how it would be to play, close to play in an actual real life orchestra concert with more than our class people. And I made a lot of friends while I was there, and I just really had a lot of fun. And I really liked the music pieces too that we played. It was really, it was fun to play.
The music that we play in class has to encompass the talents of all of the kids. The music that they were given for honors is a big step above what we can play in class. And so some of them came back talking to the other students about they learned vibrato and they learned shifting and all of these high-end skills, which was really exciting for them to be able to bring back and share with their friends. As you heard, some of them make lifelong friends where they keep in touch with other people. Some of our students get the chance to go both 7th and 8th grade, sometimes just 1 year. But it's a really great chance that they go spend all Friday evening working on this incredible music, which they're, shaking in their boots as they may feel right now. And then Saturday they get up at the crack of dawn and they're back at it at 7 a.m. They rehearse all day long with a small break in between, rehearse again, and then put on this huge concert for their parents, which is amazing, the amount of time that they have versus the product they produce. So it's been wonderful, and congratulations, guys.
Right, next, we will bring up Mr. Trentman, Monica Lewis, who is going to come up and introduce Butler Tech's Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America group.
Hello, I'm Olivia Howland, and I'm a senior at Colerain High School and a third-year member of SCCLA.
Hello, my name is Caden Whopper. I'm a sophomore, and this is my first year at FCCLA.
Hello, my name is Olivia Mitchell. I am also a sophomore, and it's my second year as an FCCLA member, Corrin High School. You go to the next slide, please. FCCLA stands for Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America.
There are over 4,000 FCCLA chapters across the country. In our chapter, we have 8 members this year. Our advisor is Monica Lewis, one of the Family and Consumer Science teachers at Corrin.
Since 1945, FCCLA members have been making a difference in their families, careers, and communities by addressing important personal work and social issues. Involvement in FCCLA offers members the opportunity to extend their leadership potential and develop skills for life planning, goal setting, problem solving, and other necessary in their home and workspace. Next slide, please.
Every year for the last few years, our chapter has chosen to conduct a FACTS project, and this year will be no different. FACTS stands for Families Acting for Community Safety, Traffic Safety. The topic we will focus on this year is distracted driving. Next slide, please.
For our FACTS project this year, we will use a multimedia campaign with posters, flyers, and a short presentation that will be shown in advisory. After the advisory presentation, students will have the chance to take a quiz on the information and be entered into a drawing for a gift card if all their answers are correct. Next slide, please.
This year, we are also doing a service project as a chapter. For our chapter service project, we looked for a way to positively impact our local community. We learned that some people in nursing homes don't have any visitors, and we wanted to do something about it.
We were able to work with Northgate Park and its residents. Once a month, we visit this nursing home and do fun activities and different crafts to pass time.
Before we went to visit the residents, we need to find different activities, games, and crafts. We had to think of what would keep them entertained and interested, and something that wasn't too hard for them to get the hang of.
One of the many activities we did with the residents was Thanksgiving bingo in November. Some of the other things we've done were a candy dice game, decorating sugar cookies, and building a scarecrow door hanger. We plan to do similar activities the next time we visit, which is coming up soon. In April, we plan to host a cooking demonstration of how to make ice cream and that the residents will get to enjoy after.
To help with our projects, we partnered with Unified Partners Club in Northgate Park. At Northgate Park, we worked with our activity director, Martha Buckley, to plan and execute our ideas.
What I took out of this project is that kindness goes a long way. Just the little things you can do positively impacts a person's life and changes the whole meaning of it.
The most important part of this project for me was seeing the impact of helping others, those in need, and knowing that our project is succeeding in our goals.
Something I learned from participating in this service project was that small things can make a person's day so much brighter. By visiting the nursing home once a month, I can tell that I'm making a difference. Every time I go in and visit, one of the residents recognizes me and their face lights up. It feels good to know that I'm helping them in some way.
My favorite part of being in FCCLA this year is being able to go to the senior home and play games with them and make their day. I also like going around the community and helping others.
My favorite part of FCCLA was helping my community out. I liked helping Montford Heights out with the Christmas shopping at school and the STEM night they have each year. I also like seeing the special needs kids' faces light up when we ask them to help us get some of the activities together for the nursing home.
I really enjoyed socializing with different people from different schools and hearing about other members' projects during competitions. Next slide, please.
You just heard Olivia mention competition. We enjoy and look forward to those at regional, state, and national level. During the competitions, we meet a lot of new people and learn how to use our voices to communicate thoughts and opinions.
We haven't presented our projects yet, but we hope that it qualifies to make it to state and nationals. If we make it through regionals and state, we qualify for nationals. This year's national competition is in Orlando, Florida, and will take place in July. Next slide, please.
Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to us talk about FCCLA. We are happy to answer any questions you have about SCCLA and our experience in this club. Thank you.
When is the next time that you present for regionals, you said was next?
When we present for regionals, it'll be March 15th.
Okay, so then you go past that and go to each one. All right, great job, you guys did awesome.
Thank you.
And I can definitely verify for you that the residents at Northgate Park truly enjoy your visits there. I know some of the residents there, they definitely look forward to it. Gives them a nice connection to the community, and it can break up some very long days. The other thing I wanted to ask you, with your FACTS program, with the texting and driving, do they offer any kind of simulated driving experience where you would be texting so you could really experience a little better the dangers of texting and driving rather than actually being in a physical car and finding out?
Yes, before we did have a simulation, we also did a project with drunk driving. So we did a simulation where we had people put on drunk goggles and drive a car while having the goggles on. So it gives them an experience and lets them feel how it would be as a drunk driver driving a car.
Oh, that's awesome. That's an invaluable experience. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so next, we've talked about the One Plan, which is our district plan for continuous improvement. And so at this time, we kicked off our One Plan this summer with all of the coordinated efforts between district and building leaders around our strategies. So we're at the midpoint of this year, so now we're going to move to an update of how we're doing toward our goals.
I don't know if this is exciting as any of the presentations before, but important. Good evening. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Jake Kuhnlein. I'm the Director of Student Services. It's really fun to have so many families and students here tonight and teachers. It makes it even more important that we talk about this information. This is my first year in the district, and it's been a blast, and it's been an honor. My understanding is that this is new for us, to take our One Plan and breathe life into it by presenting it in this way halfway point through the year. And so I'm excited about that. And also want to name and acknowledge and honor our principals that are here tonight because they're the ones working tirelessly every single day inside of the schools with the teachers, the staff, the students, and the families to make this all come together. So just want to say thank you for being here and thank you for everything you do every single day. Our One Plan has three major parts to it, an emphasis on reducing chronic absenteeism, improving student behavior in classroom environments, and then also improving instruction and achievement for our students. And we do and have started to think about this in that order, right? So to make transformational change for our kids, first we have to have them in their seats, present every single day. Then we have to have them engaged, meeting expectations, and setting that foundation for learning. And then finally, then we can really take off and improve instructional practices and achievement for our kids. And so this really does flow in terms of our theory of action of how we continue to improve our district and our schools together. And so I'll be talking about chronic absenteeism tonight in classroom environment, and then passing it off to our curriculum and instruction team to talk a little bit about our progress in the areas of instruction and achievement. There's 10 different schools and a lot of different types of data. And so we wanted to think about how we could present this at the right level tonight to give you a transparent, honest overview of how our district is doing, but also not overwhelm with all the different types of data we collect. And so we're really open to how this works, as this is our first time kind of presenting at this level halfway through the year in this way. So every slide tonight will use this color key because we'll have different types of data, different goals, et cetera. And so for every school measure and every district measure, we'll color code either green, yellow, or red. Green meaning that we're currently on track to meet the annual goal stated in our public One Plan document. Yellow meaning we're not on track, but we're making progress. So we've had improvement from the previous year or improvement within this school year. And then finally, red, meaning we're not on track to meet that annual goal, and we have a plan to address that before the year's end. We can say with confidence, because of the work of our leaders and students and staff and teachers, that all of our schools are very, very aware of where they're at, and that we've brought together on a monthly basis this year a diverse group of stakeholders at the school and district level. We meet every single month. 1 month we meet about attendance. The next month we meet as a district and team about classroom and school environment and discipline measures. And then the next week we meet about curriculum instruction and achievement. So we're meeting every single week, so that every month we meet about all 3 of these with a bunch of different stakeholders. So for attendance meetings, for example, we bring together office personnel, staff, leaders, administrators, our team. For discipline, we bring together deans and administrators. And so we really are trying to bring a lot of people together each month to talk about these measures and respond to the data that we're seeing. So where are we at with chronic absenteeism? Our goal in the District 1 plan is that over the next 3 years, we'll decrease chronic absenteeism by 15 percentage points, as measured by the state of Ohio in the gap closing measure on the local report card. So that's 5 percentage points per year. Many members of the board, especially in the community, have seen this slide a lot, but I wanted to use it to ground where we're at. This slide is actually from a public document from the State of Ohio Department of Education, but it shows where we've been at with the district before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and coming out of the pandemic. And I think it helps paint a mostly accurate picture of where we've been. In 2019-20, when the pandemic first hit, schools shut down in that second half of the year. And in fact, throughout the entire state, pretty much students just got counted present in the last half of the school year, and in the last quarter in particular. So when you look at that graph of 2019-2020, where the state chronic absenteeism percentage was 11%, and we were at 11.2%, really it's an incomplete picture, because that was the year that every single kid got counted present, while we had no systems to monitor if kids were learning, if they were doing work from home, et cetera. And the reason why I bring that up is because the year before that, in the 2018-2019 school year, before this pandemic that we now know so well hit, our chronic absenteeism rate was 18.4%. And so as a district, 18.4% really serves as our pre-pandemic baseline, because the following year in 2019-2020, for almost half the year, every kid was counted present anyway. In 2021, we started bringing kids online, and about half of the kids were actually online for almost the entire school year, and especially at the high school level. The criteria at that point was for counting a student present when they were learning from remote online learning was limited. When kids were in buildings, they didn't travel. The teachers actually traveled and rotated, but we still saw chronic absenteeism really explode in the 2021 school year. Northwest Local School District chronic absenteeism it really went up to 37.4%, and even across the state, 24%. As you can see, though, that each and every year as we've come out of the pandemic, the state level chronic absenteeism rate has reduced, and so has our district chronic absenteeism rate. And in fact, we've reduced the gap between the district and the state every year since the 21-22 school year. So we went from 11.5% gap in 21-22 to a 9.7% gap in 22-23, and then an 8.1% gap in 23-24. So as we look to this school year and have the goal of having another 5% improvement, currently as a district, we have a 1% improvement. So if we look at 18.7% as our baseline year, right now, we're right about at 1% below where we were at the end of the 23-24 school year. So in 23-24, we had a 33.7% chronic absenteeism rate. As of the end of January, we have a 32.7% chronic absenteeism rate. So this is not where we want to be in relation to our goal. We code that yellow because as a district, we are lower than we were last year, but not where we want to be. And in fact, in some of our schools, like some of our elementary and middle schools, we're actually exceeding our levels of chronic absenteeism from last year. We are getting more precise about the way we collect this data, though, and in fact, last week when we were meeting with our principals, one of our principals asked, can we look at this data that we're calculating as a district this year on a monthly basis the same way last year? And so we're just continuing to refine our systems because right now we're comparing it to an end-of-year data point from the Ohio Department of Education. But this year we've worked really hard to make really, really precise data points on a monthly basis. So I feel like we have a more acute sense of where we're at in January and February than we did in previous years. It was kind of one of those the truth shall set you free kind of moments where half a year in, we have the data infrastructure now to look at this on a weekly and monthly basis, which is really important. But of course, what's even more important is that the data shows us that we're not there yet. I do want to call out that both of our high schools, we didn't want this to become too much of a Skittles multicolored thing, so we stuck with one shade of red, one shade of yellow, one shade of green. But both of our high schools actually both are at about 5.5% reduction from last year. When we look at historical trends, though, we know springtime gets even more difficult. So the fact that we are right on the bubble, rather than shade it green now, we said, hey, we're going to be really cautious about that and just celebrate that progress, but know that if we don't continue that progress, that could easily change to yellow or even red by the end of the year. So this is where we're at with regards to chronic absenteeism. More work to be done, and I'm excited about the individual student level data that our schools are looking at now on a monthly basis to continue to support this. So then we shift gears to what's happening inside of our schools and classrooms. And our first goal in our one plan is about utilizing a new rubric that has been created collaboratively called the Model of Instruction Growth Continuum. And in our one plan, our goal is over the next 3 years to ensure that 100% of our teachers across the district are averaging a 4 or higher in the areas that are measured with regards to classroom environment. A 4 or higher on the rubric with regards to classroom environment would indicate that a classroom that we're observing has incredibly strong classroom routines, procedures, and transitions, that students are engaged, they're engaged in the learning, and that there's really strong evidence of rapport, trust, and relationships between students and teachers, and vice versa. At this point in the year, I'm proud to celebrate that we're meeting that goal at every single school. So our annual goal for year one, if our goal is to be 100% at the end of 3 years, was 50%. That's our goal for this year, is 50% of our teachers. The 73% of our teachers are currently averaging a 4 or higher in terms of strong research-based instructional practices for classroom environment, which I know will just continue to lay the foundation for some of these other metrics to continue to grow and improve as well. And in fact, in our first district walkthrough, where we collaboratively observed classrooms across the entire district in the fall, roughly half of our teachers were averaging a 4 or higher, and then in our second district walkthrough, 73% were. So we're seeing improved teacher practice and improved classroom instruction and environment, even in the course of just this year, which is awesome to see. We want to celebrate that growth, but we also want to name that this is a snapshot in time. When we do those district walkthroughs, we're walking through and we're observing for 15 minutes, right? And it's a planned, prepared observation, and this is a great celebration, but we also know that we want to continue to support our teachers, our administrators, to continue to make sure classroom environment is just as strong day in, day out, each and every moment, because we know that's what keeps our teachers coming back every single day, and we know that's what makes our students feel safe, engaged in learning. So is it a cause for celebration? Yes, but we also know that 15-minute observations 3 times a year don't tell the entire story of what happens Monday through Friday in second bell, et cetera. So then we get even more granular and we look at referrals. So our one plan says that we will shoot to reduce referrals by 30% over the next 3 school years. And our district goal is to monitor this, and I want to be really clear, it's a means by which to better understand the learning environments and the amount of time that is spent on instruction. Measuring this goal, and we're really explicit about this every month when we meet, is not an effort to reduce referrals for the sake of reducing referrals. In fact, we want this to be as accurate as possible, because what we're really trying to do is progress monitoring the support teachers are getting and what the environments are looking like on a day-to-day basis as another data point to look at in addition to our model of instruction observations. So when we look at the referrals from last year compared to this year, our goal is to reduce referrals across the district by roughly 10%. Right now we have a reduction of 2.4%. So we see that there are bright spots across the district where this is happening, and we see there are areas in the district where we want to continue to support and improve. We continue to meet monthly with schools and leaders and teachers to continue to refine student-level supports and teacher supports to collaboratively problem solve around what kind of repeated behaviors may be happening across classrooms in the district. And I think what has emerged is that there's different trends and themes at each level. So what our elementary teachers are experiencing might be different than what our middle school teachers and staff are experiencing, which might be different than what our secondary and high school staff members are experiencing each and every day in the classroom. So similar to chronic absenteeism, more work to be done, but we are making progress and improvements throughout the year. And then finally, our strategic one plan has a goal of reducing physical confrontations by 30% over the next 3 years, or roughly 10% per year as well. And so I'm excited to share that we actually have exceeded that goal at this point in the year, and we actually have a 21% reduction halfway through the school year when compared to this point last year. And you can see that there's been a lot of ground being made in terms of just making sure that our classroom environments and our school environments are safe, structured, that there's supervision, that kids get the help that they need when they need it, and they have the guidance and supports to avoid, resorting to physical confrontations to handle a problem that they're experiencing at the schools. It'd be a miss not to call out that middle school is hard, and you can see right where our focus area is at our 3 middle schools. I was a middle school teacher and administrator myself, so I know on a daily basis what it's like to continue to help our adolescents that are growing into young adults problem solve differently and better than they sometimes do. And we are making progress in those areas as well, but obviously there's still more work to be done in that front too. So exciting celebrations, a call to action with regards to areas that we want to continue to improve upon. And as we kind of outlined, our theory of action is we got to get them to school, we got to get them engaged in meeting expectations, and then the instruction that our incredible teachers are providing will start to have an impact on teachers. So I'm going to pass it to our curriculum and instruction team to take over, and I'll stand by in case there are questions at the end. But thank you, I appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Brenda Miller. I'm the Director of Curriculum, and I'm here with Lori Reilly, who is our Assistant Director of Curriculum. We are excited to update the board on where we are at with our one plan goal around academics. So like Jake said, we know that we have to have students in school. We have to have learning environments that are safe and that there are strong relationships between teachers and students before we're going to move the needle with student achievement. In our one plan, we have a goal that by the end of the 26-27 school year, we will be a 4-star district on our state report card as far as our overall rating. Currently, we are a 3-star district. We know that in order to move the needle with student achievement in terms of instruction, we need to focus both on what our adults and teachers are doing in classrooms as well as the outcomes for our students. And so that's a nice change in this one plan where we really are looking at both what we need to do different and not just hoping something different happens for students. And so both in terms of naming it, having some common language, but also really being clear about what we're monitoring both on the adult and the student side. So let's talk first about our adult measures under the area of instruction. We have 2 things that we're monitoring. The first is around the way that our teachers collaborate through teacher-based teams, making sure that we've got common language, that we have common expectations for that collaboration, and Lori's going to talk more about the details of that. But our goal is to increase each year by a ½ a point. So this particular rubric for TBTs is based on a 3-point scale, and we want to see these teams increasing each year by a ½ a point. And again, Lori will explain kind of where we started and where we are at currently. And then the second adult measure is around, just like Jake talked about, our model of instruction growth continuum. Within that model of instruction, we have 3 areas that we're focused on related to instruction. And our goal, long-term, 3 years from now, is to have 100% of our teachers scoring at least a 12 or higher on those 3 areas when they're combined. So this year, our goal, just like Jake's was for classroom environment, is 50% of teachers that we need to hit that mark and meet those expectations. That particular part of the growth continuum has 3 different components, and I'll talk about those in just a minute. Target task alignment, student-led teaming, and then monitoring for evidence of student learning. So this is that adult measure around model of instruction. Again, this is based on district walkthroughs that we are conducting collaboratively with our building administrators, as well as our reading and math specialists, our coaches, and members of the district team. And so we walked all of the classrooms in the district in September to get a baseline. And we expected that baseline to be somewhere around 25% of classrooms, and it was actually 4%. And so that doesn't mean that our teachers aren't working hard, that they're not doing the very best that they can do for kids, but we had to calibrate around the expectations and common language. The district walk gave us an opportunity to have lots of conversation, both building and district leaders together, in terms of how do we move forward with this expectation. We did another round of walks at the end of November and early December, and we were at 15.7%. So that is currently where we are at based on our last district walk. However, our buildings are also conducting walks using the same tool that we can see their data, they can see our data. It's very transparent. Teachers know what we're looking for. We're sharing that data back with them as far as what we've accomplished. So in that short period of time, about 2.5 months, we moved from 4% to 15.7%. Not on track at this point in the year, but we do have about 100 teachers in addition to those 82 that make up the 15.7 that are at the 9, 10, and 11 point mark, which means they're scoring 3s and even some 4s. And so we believe by the time we do our next round of walks with continued support, professional learning, all of those things, that we will see that moving closer to the 50%. To get us back in a place where in the next 2 years' time, we will get to that 100% by the end of the 3rd year. So this has been an area where having common language and clear expectations has been important. Just to explain the 3 parts for instruction, target task alignment is really the expectation that teachers are sharing the learning target with students every day. They know why they're there, they know what they're supposed to be learning, and that they are also aware of what those success criteria are that they should accomplish during that lesson. And so we need to make sure that that target is aligned to the state standards. We need to make sure that that target is also aligned to the learning activity that the teacher is having students do. And ultimately, that the evidence of student learning that is coming out of that activity for students that are working either in partners or teams is hitting that level of challenge or rigor that's expected for success, obviously, to move us closer to our goal. We also have an expectation, one of our pieces of instruction here is that we are having students collaborate and process academic content together. Not all of the time, but that we're making sure that students have the opportunity to work with one another in a way that helps to build some of those life skills that we know that they need in terms of communication, collaboration, problem solving, all of those things that are outlined in our Portrait of a Graduate. That's a big part of what this is also looking at. And finally, that our teachers are looking for evidence of learning every day. They know what it sounds like, looks like when students are successfully meeting the standard, and they're looking for the evidence of that by listening to what's happening in the classrooms with students. So not waiting until the end of the unit or the end of the quarter or the semester, but actually looking for that evidence of learning and providing regular feedback to students. So that's what we're shooting for when we say we want teachers to be at a 12 or higher. And so we believe we have a whole crop of teachers who are right there, ready to make that next step. And then we'll continue to pour into our teachers with the help of our building leaders and our specialists and coaches to make sure that we are successful in achieving this particular part of the plan.
As Brenda has mentioned, our teacher-based teams and evaluating their effectiveness is another adult indicator that we are measuring. Teacher-based teams, or otherwise known as TBTs in our buildings, are intentional meetings that happen each week where collaboratively our teachers, our administrators, our specialists, our coaches come together to analyze a piece of data, plan and design lessons, identify area of needs, and create plans to address those needs with very specific strategies. Once we implement those strategies and come back and examine another piece of data around this, then we take the time to examine the results, to reflect, and then to adjust, with our ultimate goal being that we are monitoring to make sure that our students are reaching those levels of mastery that we need for them to be. It is that step in our TBT process, the examine, reflect, and adjust for impact, that we want to monitor. That is the part of the TBT that really ensures that all this data that we're collecting, that we're actually doing something with, and that we are continuing to work to move our students to that level of mastery that we want them to be. Our annual goal is to increase on the rubric by 0.5. Again, this is a 3-point rubric. We came into this school year with an average of 1.49 in that specific category of our TBTs. You can see we have already gained 0.38. We're currently sitting at 1.87 on this particular level of the rubric. Since we are over halfway to our goal, we believe that we are on track to meet this goal. We see that there are still buildings that could use additional support. We actually have a district coach that is dedicated to supporting the TBT process. He has met with all of our building leaders and reviewed their TBT data in all areas of the rubric to do a mid-year review and to create some action steps and some plans to continue to support and improve in this area. We believe that we will continue to be on track for this goal by the end of the year.
Switching from adult measures to student measures, we would like to share with you our progress at this point in the year on 2 student measures. So the first one we're looking at is performance index, with our target being to increase that by 6 points each year for a total of 18 points by the end of the plan. Our other student measure is specific to grade 3 reading proficiency. We know that literacy is critical for students to be successful throughout their school career and beyond. And so our target here is to increase by 7 points a year for each year for a total of 21 points by the end of the plan. So we've talked a lot about performance index. Performance index is the measure that makes up in the entirety the achievement component of our report card. It is based on looking at the performance level of every student when they take their Ohio State tests and end of course exams. And it is giving us credit in performance index for students who are showing progress. So the student who moves from a limited score, which is the lowest performance level, to a basic score gives us increased points towards this particular piece of data on the achievement component, just like a student who moves from accomplished to advanced gives us an increase in points. Obviously, we want students to be at least proficient, but this measure is looking to make sure that we are continuously moving students forward, and it's a holistic measure of all students who took state assessments from 3rd grade all the way into high school end of course. So our performance target here is to move from our baseline score of 72.9 to increase that by 6 points, so by the end of this year to be at 78.9. Based on our winter map data and our common assessments across the district, our current PI estimate is at 72.5. So it's 0.4 of a point lower than it was at the end of last school year. That is why we have said that we are not on track. So in addition to not increasing 6 points yet, we are behind where we were at the end of last school year by 0.4 of a point. Obviously, this is concerning to us. We do have some buildings that are making progress, but you see a lot of red on the chart there, including for the district. Very extensive work is happening after our mid-year data reviews. Building administrators met with Mr. Yater, worked to develop very targeted plans for improving this particular component of the one plan, looking at individual students and teachers needing support and intensifying that support. We also have regular work sessions, like Jake mentioned, for student achievement, where we've been looking together at our building and district performance index calculators to make sure that we know why we have not moved the way that we want to in most of our schools. So this is an area that we're focusing on, but we believe that at this point in the year, we're not yet on track with this goal. We know that some of the things, you're probably wondering why. So we know some of the things that we need to think about here are that we have to have adult behavior change consistently before we start to really see significant movement in student achievement. So the fact that we have 15.7% of our classrooms on an announced visit that are at the place we need them to be on the model of instruction is an indicator that that's not yet consistently happening in the way that we need it to move this forward. So the monitoring that's happening through the model of instruction walkthroughs, both district and building, is important. But at the end of the day, it's really about what happens in that classroom every single day, and that we need to raise the level of that across classrooms in the district.
Our final student measure is around our third grade ELA proficiency. Again, our goal is to increase by 7% on our district report card for that measure. We chose the third grade ELA reading proficiency for a variety of reasons. Number one, it reflects the work that we're doing around early literacy that we've talked so much about, but also it's a major lever. This, if we can accomplish this goal, it not only improves our early literacy rating, but also will improve our achievement rating. And we just know that reading by third grade is such a strong predictor of future success. Last year, we had 63.4% on our state report card, so our goal this year is 70.4. We know that our fall third grade OST scores came in at 37%, which is actually 4% lower than it was last fall. Keeping that in mind, we also know that traditionally from fall to spring, we increase about 22% on our third grade ELA scores. With that in mind, and with the assumption that we will continue to gain 22 percentage points, we are still behind our goal. Not only are we not increasing, but we're actually 3.2% lower than where we were at this time last year. So again, pretty far off our goal, about 10 percentage points. We have worked strategically with our administrators to look specifically at students and to put some action plans in place. We know that we are using a new curriculum this year. We also know that we have a new benchmark and progress monitoring data. Anytime you introduce new things like that, sometimes there can be an implementation dip. We are working hard to ensure that if there is a dip, it's a very minimal dip. As you know, we have a district literacy coach. She is dedicated to working with our reading specialists and teachers to support them in any way possible with this new reading program, along with the progress monitoring data to ensure that they know exactly how to intervene with students. We believe if we continue to offer this support with pacing, with planning, with understanding data, that, like I said, the dip that we may see will be minimal. But we also know that we have a lot of work to do in order to meet this goal around our third grade ELA proficiency. So with that in mind, I'm going to toss it over to Daryl for some additional steps.
So this, as Jake said when he started, this is new for us to have a one plan that is targeted, structured, and the transparency with the public about where we are. I want to call out the administrators who are here from all of our various buildings, who are not only here tonight, but are there every day doing the work, analyzing the data, and not just monitoring where we are, but strategically looking at how to move this forward and make gains. And so it is a collaborative effort, and none of us in this room are are okay with where we are, but we are confident that we have plans and that they have very customized plans to each of their buildings to address areas that are not where they need to be, so they can continue to make those gains and move the district forward through the individual progress of not just buildings and classrooms, but individual students. So with that, we'll open it up for questions, and I appreciate all of you being here and the work that you're doing to move this forward.
So in the areas where some schools are in green and some are in red, is there collaboration between like a green school and a red school to try and find out tips of what you're doing different that may help our school?
Yeah, and in fact, when they mentioned the work sessions, those collaborative meetings that we have monthly, that's part of that work, is to really focus on what's going well. One of the things that we're also doing is trying to quantify what works. So we know we're doing a lot, but which things that buildings are doing are actually making progress, so we can do more of that and really narrow our focus and not do a lot of stuff, but do fewer things well that are truly moving the needle. And those are those weekly or those monthly meetings that they're having where they're bringing the right people together to have the conversation about what are you doing and how do you know it's working and how do we do more of that.
I will also add that we have mid-year data reviews for our buildings, and they present to their colleagues as well as SLT at the level, so all the elementary came together, and then all of our secondary. So throughout that process, they are highlighting their data and some strategies that they've identified that they believe are effective, along with new strategies that they want to try. So that allows for people to get lots of ideas. And I know there's been lots of phone calls like, hey, tell me more about, what are you doing? You know, I want to try that, what's my next step? So that's also another way that we allow them to kind of hear what's working in each building.
And the other thing that I think we should probably call out is that collaboration between the buildings is happening between our leaders, but it's also our teachers. Our in-service days have been restructured so that every in-service day, our teachers are getting together by content area and our grade level, and they're meeting to talk about what's working at the classroom level as well. And so those conversations are not only just happening at the building level between leaders, but at the classroom level among teachers.
Okay. How long do you typically see it takes when a new program is introduced until you start to see it kind of catch on and improve, like with the CKLA?
So when you look at change research in general, whether we're talking about something in medicine, whether we're talking about something in business or schools, typically you will see an implementation dip in the first year. My experience with whole school reform and continuous improvement suggests that mid-year data for us was down, and by the end of the year we were almost back to where we needed to be, and then we accelerated quickly. And so if we stay the course, we continue to do the right work together and collaborate around the pieces of our one plan, we should start to see an acceleration and improvement. But it is discouraging for all of us to see some of the mid-year data. I think we just have to know that we can't give up on the things that we chose, programs, science of reading, all of the things, because we know they will work. We just have to stay true to those action steps. So I would say by the end of this year, moving into next year, we should start to see things pointing back in the right direction for sure.
I was kind of surprised to see that, because going through the schools and seeing the work that they're doing and the things hanging in the hallways from CKLA just seem like they're really excelling. So I thought it would be better than that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it, we have some pacing issues. When it's a brand new program and it's so different, teachers are kind of living one day ahead instead of some future planning. So that does impact sometimes the quality of lessons. So they're getting used to it. We're getting faster, we're getting better, we're seeing stronger instruction. Another thing that I wanted to mention, you might remember the very beginning of our school year, we had a representative from Amplify, Janice, come and talk to you guys about the Transformer program. So she is actually planning to revisit the district and do some district walks with myself, Rachel Barnes, our district literacy coach, and some of our reading specialists. She is aware of the data, is not alarmed by what she's seeing, has reassured me that it's very typical, but she's also coming to give us some next steps. A set of eyes of someone who has seen this program roll out many of times. So we're hoping that we get some really great suggestions and action steps from her in the next few weeks that we will be able to put in action. Specifically, I've asked her if we could focus on third grade, because that is one of our goal areas as well.
On the absentee attendance, I see your signs out in front of all the buildings, which is cool to kind of get the update on that. I've had parents tell me that when they're dropping their child off, they read it, so it's being seen. How is the staff attendance going? Is that better? Because I know we were looking at a little bit of numbers last year, and it was because I would imagine that if you have somebody, a sub, that's not really part of and I'm not a teacher, so bear with me with everything, that's going to impact the overall learning. So how is that going? And what kind of impact does that have on our students?
I want to give a big disclaimer that Susan Bunty, our Director of HR, really leads that effort. So if I misquote, I will stand up here next 2 weeks from now and course correct and apologize to the community. I believe we are hitting our 95% staff attendance for the district at this point in the year.
Yeah, we are close. Our goal for attendance is 95%, and our teacher attendance right now is very close to the 95%.
Thanks.
I think while that isn't an official goal in our one plan, our buildings have done a really nice job of making it a goal. So when Mrs. Bunty shares the staff attendance with them, they instantly put that in their documents as a goal update, so it's in their newsletters. Teachers are aware of what the goals are. Their current progress is always being put out there, celebrated or encouraged. Like, we were so close. If we just, get over the cold and flu, we'll be okay. So they've kind of taken that on, because I think all of our buildings understand that if our teachers aren't present, it's going to be, really hard to keep our students present, and then we're not going to reach those academic goals as well.
And I just want to offer encouragement to our building leaders. Sometimes when you're looking at new numbers, it can be very discouraging. This thing is, a monster, like turning a big cruise liner. You don't turn it fast. It's not a speedboat. So, keep your head in the game, and we appreciate everything that you guys are doing, because I'm sure it's a very different dynamic of how you're managing your buildings than things have occurred in the past.
Thank you all. Thank you for
Thanks.
sharing and being transparent with the positives and challenges.
Okay, next we'll start with the student achievement liaison reports.
All right, yes, we have a lot to celebrate this evening. First, we'd like to start with Pleasant Run Middle School with the academics and recognize 8th grader Olivia Klosterman. Olivia is an outstanding student and valued member of Pleasant Run. She has demonstrated exceptional academic achievement, maintaining a perfect 4.0. She's highly focused, dedicated, hardworking, and always striving for excellence. She is also a positive force in her community, volunteering with the Hope Squad and Student Council, and she also volunteers at the library at Pleasant Run Elementary and helping to inspire a love of reading in younger students. Her dedication to both her education and community service makes her a remarkable role model for her peers. And next we move to Colerain High School, where we recognize Emily Bickett and Layla Klotz for being selected as Cincinnati Enquirer Students of the Week. Emily is a very involved senior at Colerain High School. She's enrolled in 4 AP classes, on the yearbook staff as a senior class officer, and on the volleyball team. Emily approaches each day with a positive attitude and strives to truly learn and understand the content that she is exposed to. She is kind and willing to help anyone who needs a little extra assistance. Layla is one of the most exceptional students Colerain has seen in years and stands out in everything she does. Her academic accolades are beyond impressive. Layla has been on the honor roll for 4 years, is an active member of the National Honor Society, and was awarded first team recognition for academic quiz team, where she also serves as team captain, and she also achieved a score of 35 on her ACT. Layla is currently co-president of the senior class, and she earned a state-level achievement in the PTA Reflections competition in the literature category. Layla was recognized as the National Merit Scholarship Program Commended Scholar in her senior year. She's also a member of the book club, captain on the VEX robotics team, is part of the volleyball team, and she tutors elementary students as well. Next, we move on to Montfort Heights Elementary. Montfort Heights recently hosted their spelling bee, where 4th and 5th graders took a test, and the top scoring students were invited to participate in the spelling bee in front of their peers and family members. Pleased to announce Lily Rodenheimer, and runner-up was Jaden Marable, and overall champion was Sirion Garong. Congratulations to all 3 winners and everyone that participated. And next at Pleasant Run Elementary, where we would like to congratulate 3 5th grade students who entered statements about articles or answers to posed questions with news depth, and their messages were read on the air nationwide. Those students are Manshef Subedi, Lorenzo Copeland, and Samara Noble. And next, at Struble Elementary, the students in the Multicultural Club recently showcased their continent projects for parents and students in grades 3 to 5. The project allowed students to work in collaborative teams to research and share how a variety of cultures dress, celebrate, live, and communicate. Student teams created displays and showed off important details for each culture. And I know in April they also have their art auction coming up, so I'm excited to see how that goes as well. At Corrine Elementary, they also held their spelling bee for 4th and 5th graders, and the winner was Lilia Oldham and runner-up Xavier Mathai. Congratulations to them. And they would also like to congratulate PTA Reflection participants. 2nd grader Kalia Holloway and Jaden Namstop were selected as winner and runner-up. And Just Be Here January, which is a very hard thing to do with the weather and the flu and cold going around, but 186 Cardinals were recognized for perfect attendance in January. No tardies and no absences. And next, looking at athletics, we recognize the Coleraine and White Oak Middle School wrestling teams. They earned 4th place in GMCs. Landon Schlemmer, Braxton Alexander, and Azari Gervin were 1st place. And then a number of other wrestlers also got 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and 6th place. So congratulations to all of them. And Northwest High School would like to recognize Caleb Peters. Caleb was the Enquirer Beacon Athlete of the Week for January 24th. He was 5-0 in wrestling, getting a pin in the duel with Fairfield, before going 4-0 in the 190-pound bracket at the Sycamore Invitational. And also like to recognize at Coleraine High School, they had athletic signing this week, and there was a number of kids that signed to play sports at the next level. And then also the Northwest basketball team is currently 14-4 and 6-0 in their league. And next we have in Fine Arts, Struble Elementary Art Club participated in the 2025 Reflections Art Show. These students created original works of art that centered around theme accepting imperfection, and had their work shown at submitted their work, to this year's exhibits. And Gabe Thomas was selected as our district level winner, and his painting was sent to Columbus for judging at the state level. And Coleraine High School had 11 student artists who had their work displayed at Coleraine Township Administrative Building in the Rotunda area this month. And so we'd like to congratulate the list of students here for having their artwork displayed. And Pleasant Run Middle School would like to congratulate Owen Kennedy, Mario Luxchakin, and Christian Monroe for being selected to Wright State University Middle School Honor Band. And White Oak Middle School would like to recognize 4 8th grade students that auditioned and were selected to participate in the District 14 Junior High Honor Orchestra. These students had the opportunity to rehearse and perform with 126 of the best middle school orchestra students in our county at Winton Woods High School. So that was quite an honor there. And then White Oak also had 4 students that were selected to perform as part of District 14 Honor Band. At Pleasant Run Elementary, I'd like to congratulate Haley Matan for winning the primary photography category for the PTA Reflections contest. And at Taylor Elementary, with citizenship, Taylor would like to recognize 44 students for demonstrating the trait of the month, which was being responsible. And February 6th was the 100th day of school, so we've got some pictures here. Taylor recognized 32 students who've been present for all 100 days of learning. That's awesome. Students celebrated with a delicious treat. And Pleasant Run Elementary would like to congratulate 40 students for maintaining perfect attendance in both first and second quarter. So lots of attendance celebrations to go along with what Jake was talking about earlier, so great to see. Northwest High School has over 500 students with attendance rates of 90% or higher this semester. And that is all we have. So congratulations to all of those students, and we look forward to seeing more. I just also want to recognize on the Facebook page recently, we've been acknowledging each week just great things going on in the district. And I think that's good to see as well. So thank you.
Right, and there will not be a Butler Tech update today. So we'll move on to legislative update with Mark.
Just a few things. Excuse me. House Bill 3, which is a school bus safety bill. It's put together to assign monies to the state budget to support school bus safety and education around school time high-risk behaviors. The bill will guide the use of external school bus cameras, lane departure systems, fully illuminated stop arms. Also speaks to implication infractions to surrounding drivers who do not follow the laws around school bus safety. We usually show a video of that every year of just how insane some of these situations are. From what I read, it sounds like when they have the external camera on, they can actually pursue you criminally based on the camera versus a police officer would have to see it previously. House Bill 57, the use of overdose reversal medications with the epidemic of fentanyl overdoses. There's a discussion going around about the guidelines of having and using overdose reversal medication like Narcan. If it passes, any facility will be able to accept monetary donations of the actual overdose reversal medication or monetary donations to pay for it. And then federally, this won't be anything that anybody hasn't heard. President Trump has signed multiple executive orders. One, forbidden male athletes to compete against females. The executive orders around transgender male athletes competing in women's sports, also using locker rooms, restrooms. The NCAA has already adopted the policy and has changed their guidelines. I got on the OHSAA website today, and they don't have anything posted on that as of yet for state of Ohio. President Trump also signed an executive order about DEI mandates and the elimination of various promotions of and various groups of people. And then there's early talks about disbanding the Department of Education and giving the management back to the state. So more to come with all of this.
Thank you very much. Okay, and do we have a report from any employee organizations?
We do. We have a music announcement tonight, so I appreciate that we have Ms. Case, who started the night with talking about orchestra, and Nicole, who highlighted a lot of music accomplishments. And we now have Tim Keening, who is our band director at Northwest High School, music liaison district-wide, and Glenn Greenwood, who are here to talk about Music Try-It Nights and why that is an important thing that people need to know about and show up for.
I'm not one to read notes, so I've written this all down, and I'm just going to hope I don't forget something. One of the things that the district has done for us post-COVID is given us the opportunity to work on our recruitment plans. So we've kind of taken this on as an entire department. So from the high school level, we send students out to perform for our fifth graders so they can get an idea of what all these instruments sound like. They can hear a choir sing. Our middle school directors go out and talk to these kids so that we can try to get them interested in the music programs. And then the biggest event that we're leading towards are our Try-It Nights, which are where we invite every fifth grader in the district to come to either Northwest or Colerain High School. And we have Buddy Rogers Music and Baroque Violin Shop there, so kids can try out any and every instrument that's out there so that they can try to find what works best for them. We also have our choir staff there as well. Years past, we've done karaoke, things like that, so kids could actually see what it's like to sing and try to get them interested in the music programs here. And I can say over the past several years, I've seen especially Glenn's numbers have definitely increased, and I start to see that at the high school level, which is one of the reasons we all take a vested interest in this. So tomorrow and Wednesday, from 6 to 8, tomorrow at Northwest High School, Wednesday at Colerain High School, we have the opportunity for every one of our fifth graders to come out and try out instruments so that all the accomplishments you saw tonight from fine arts students, all Ms. Case's orchestra kids, will have that opportunity when they get to the middle school and high school level. And if you are interested, I do have some of the material that has been sent out to parents and that they'll be getting tomorrow night at the Try-It Night so that they can keep track of everything they've done.
Thank you for being here. These are important events, and you guys have done a great job of coordinating district-wide to try to build up our recruitment and retention of our music program, and it has shown and come back tenfold in the benefits to our kids and our community. So thank you for being here tonight, waiting to kind of for that moment, but it's an important opportunity for our kids and our families in their transition from elementary to middle school. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for sharing all the events that you guys have going on as well. It's nice to see when those are. The high school combined band thing that you guys did, I hope you'll do that again this year. That was really neat to see, and I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you.
We've come a long way since, that was like maybe 21, 22, when we had, I mean, there was some serious conversations about, you know, the numbers diminishing, and to see this is really exciting to me. Great job with the effort and thinking out of the box and doing different things. I know I've been to some of the elementaries, and the high schoolers will be at the elementaries playing, and the kids just, their eyes just gleam when they see the high school kids, so it's awesome.
Have you ever thought about making a district-wide anthem that all the schools would use and play at their events and graduations and school assemblies to provide a little bit of unity? Because, you know, schools have mascots and schools have their own spirit songs, but one that goes across the whole district.
Well, I know the past several years, like when we kicked off the school year, we've gotten both marching bands out on the field at the same time to perform. The community night we did with marching band in the fall. We try to do everything we can. I know for retention, we have our 8th graders come up and perform with high schoolers, and it happens at various times. Like I think Colerain, White Oak, and Colerain Middle are all coming together this time of year. On the Northwest side, we kind of do it at the end of the year because that's kind of when we kind of program music that's more towards, hey, we want to keep you really interested and make it the really fun, like movie music, things like that we can really get the kids involved and want to keep them there. As far as district-wide, we're open to collaboration however possible.
And I don't know if there were any great composers that would come up with words and music to a song that everybody would share to tie everybody together. It's way out of my ballpark. I can't even play an instrument, so it's not me.
We have amazing music departments. Our arts are just as strong as our athletics and our academics. I think it's one of the things that makes our district fantastic is that our kids have an opportunity to be involved in something, whether they're a music, an athletic, or a service learning kid, or there's something for everyone in our district. And you guys provide a great opportunity for our kids who don't even think they're a music kid to become a music kid. So we've seen great growth, and I think it's only going to continue to get better. And I think the one thing that we have seen is the collaboration between the two sides of the district coming together and being unified in a lot of the work that you guys have done, and some of the combined songs has been really powerful. But we don't have an anthem yet, but if anyone can do it, these guys can.
Okay.
The Music Men.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next up, I think Chris was going to present his bus tour.
Yeah, Amy, if you're ready to roll with the pictures. Fred Marsh is not here tonight, folks. He's one of our, I think he's in his 5th year of driving for Northwest. Approximately 2-3 weeks ago, there's Fred. Right after the big snowstorm, I rode 3 routes with Fred just to get a better idea. I've done it before, but it's been a few years. And things have so much changed since when I did it, maybe it's been probably 10 years ago. So there's Fred in front of the bus, and he's holding a device, which you'll see in a minute. It's sort of a GPS, iPad, checklist type device. Amy, number 2. It goes right there, and it describes his route. It's all programmed in there, where he goes and turns and stops. And then you'll see in a minute when he takes it off there, how he checks us for safety issues on the bus. Fred says that the central office or the transportation office can monitor where he's at and how fast he's going at all times, so he cannot speed. Amy? Here's these little bugs that are around the bus in different locations. I think there's 8 of them. I'm not sure if anybody knows. And Fred takes that device and puts it up there, and it'll tell him what to do. Amy, if we'll go to the next picture. For example, he'll stick it there, and that thing will send out a signal and say, like one over the tire will say, check tire pressure, make sure that the valve stem has a cover on it, other safety issues. And it'll remind him of things that otherwise might be forgotten. Amy? And there it is sitting up there right by the driver. Again, it does so many different things, and when you think about how it used to be and how it is now, it's quite amazing. Amy? There are a total of 5 cameras. Well, there's 2, I believe, on each one. I forgot the exact number. That's why I wish he was here. One of them is outside, as Mark mentioned, and it can record anybody who goes through the flashing red lights. And then there's 4 inside the bus to monitor for any behavior. And there's a button, if he needs to, he can then hit this, I believe, green button, and then it starts recording to save a copy of it if there is an incident. And it's very high tech, and he did say that generally when people do cut through the flashing red lights, they usually just send them a warning. They typically don't get them with a fine the first time. The second time they do. Amy? We've blurred the picture. I tried to make sure no faces were on there. I was on a route, the first route with special needs children, and there's an aide on that particular route and that bus, and there's Fred at the bottom, and I believe Stephanie is the aide, and they lift the young student up and who's in a wheelchair, and then make sure they're safely garnered in the back of the bus. And it works out really well. And then when they get to the student's home, then a family member comes out and helps with the transportation inside the house. And next picture, Amy. Is that it? Yeah, I had some other pictures that I didn't know if I should include or not. But I can tell you this, the job is much harder than I remember it to be. It's something that you really, I mean, Fred gets up at 5:30 in the morning. He does his morning routes. He's got a break in the afternoon, and then he reports back at 1:30 and finishes up around 4. I think he said he works 5.5 hours a day. I really, really appreciate what the drivers do. It's a tough job. The kids did behave. I think they thought I was some kind of like special agent or something. They were really well behaved, and they didn't know who I was. And these were, we did one high school route, one middle school route, and one elementary school route, and no problems at all. But a very, very good experience, and my next visit might be to the food service workers to see exactly how they put together all those delicious meals that our students enjoy every day. Thank you, Amy, and that's it.
Okay. Next up will be community comments. The Northwest Board of Education welcomes the opportunity to listen to Northwest Local School District residents' comments, suggestions, and concerns on educational issues. Our policy number 0169.1, which addresses public participation at board meetings, gives each submission 3 minutes to address agenda items of any topic during community comments. However, no more than 15 minutes will be devoted to public participation unless the board votes unanimously to continue discussion. The policy also states that no response to the submission will occur from the board or district administration during this time. And I have not received any community comments at this time, so we'll move forward with the next agenda item.
So for the consent items tonight, I'll start with Human Resources since Ms. Bunty couldn't be here tonight. We have 12 resignations, 7 retirements, 2 change in status, 4 initial appointments, 2 job abandonments, and various supplemental items and leaves of absence.
We have 4 donations tonight. We have the conference expenses for superintendent to present by AASA and the Annie E. Casey Foundation. We have library books from Legina Montgomery to Struble Elementary School. We have Donors Choose items to Pleasant Run Middle School. And we have a monetary donation from Emeritus to Pleasant Run Middle School. We also have some vendor contracts for Title I services, music services, and mentorship program.
With that, the superintendent recommends the board approve the consent items as listed.
Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Just go.
Can you talk a little bit about what Forever Kings is and what that organization does?
Yeah, that is something that Corey Middle School is doing. It is a group that will come in and do after-school mentorship for minority boys at the middle school program.
Is that being offered to all of our middle schools, or is it just?
It is only at Corey Middle School. It's part of their title funds that they're
Okay.
using, so it's a program that they're piloting with their title funds.
Okay, thank you.
Daryl, what exactly, I know, but just for the benefit of the audience and the TV viewership, what exactly does it mean when an employee abandons their position?
So it could mean a couple of things. It could be that an employee has stopped coming to work and stopped responding to their immediate supervisor, so they're just not coming to work anymore, so that would be job abandonment. Or it would be someone who is legally bound by a contract but did not complete and fulfill that contract, and so is an abandonment of their contract because they didn't fulfill it, which then would go against licensure requirements for that person as well.
So it is definitely a blemish on their especially a certified person?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? And notes? All right, and that passes 4-0.
Good evening. First, I need to ask the board to dispense with reading of and approve our minutes from January, which includes our tax budget hearing, our organizational minutes, our regular meeting in January, as well as our special work session. We also have our December financial report. Our all funds balance was $93 million. Our general fund unreserved balance was $17 million, and December is halfway through our fiscal year. We get our tax payments in around July, August, and then again in January and February. So we were at $17 million, which dips below our cash balance policy, but per our forecast, we are on track to build that back up by the end of the year and still be consistent with our cash balance policy. Our revenues year-to-date are at $54 million, or at 49% through the year, and again, December is halfway through the year, so right on target. And our expenditures were $51 million, or at 46%, so a little below. Our invested weighted average return was 4.27%, and our list of monthly bills were our routine monthly bills, as well as we had the sewer water lines at Colerain High School. We had some water and storm sewer repairs at WAMS. We had a compressor repair at PRE. We had our fiscal year 24 finance, compliance, internal control, and our federal audit, student software purchases, some transportation repairs, custodial supplies, our Waycross contract, as well as some auxiliary grant fund payments. And then we have, we need to accept, approve, and appropriate a few funds tonight. We have our funds for our Colerain Elementary project, as well as our middle schools received high school historic grant. So with that, I ask the board to approve the fiscal consent items as listed.
So moved.
Amy, you talked a little bit about some of the items that we had that had to be fixed in the month, but I know at Colerain Elementary, my son spent the month of January sitting on the stage because of water damage in his classroom, but I didn't hear that on there. And then also Struble gym floor had water damage.
Okay, the payments may not have been processed yet.
Okay, so those will be in February where you'll...
And if they're above the 10,000, which is the ones I list, are the high dollar items, otherwise it'll be on the full list that you see.
Okay.
But this, I present the items that we've paid.
We're already paid. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and that passes unanimously.
So next we have our list of our semi-annual policy updates. So the superintendent recommends the board approve the new revised and rescinded Neola policies as listed.
So moved.
Motion a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Darrell, in the January meeting, you mentioned open enrollment being in February. That's not on here. Would that be expected at the next February meeting?
We have the ability with Neola to bring that to the board with a draft policy.
And so that'll be presented in the next meeting you had mentioned in February?
Yeah, we can bring it whenever the board so desires.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, we can bring it whenever the board would like to see it.
I had requested that he send out a survey to see who is interested in that as far as community teachers, principals, what their opinions are, and for the pros and the cons of that issue to be put on the survey, and then people let us know what they feel.
When is that survey going out?
We don't have that done yet, so we don't have a timeline for that. It would be soon, but we don't have the survey built yet. We're using our new Thought Exchange platform.
Okay, so I know that open enrollment is open for some districts right now, and other ones come up. There is a timeline for that. So I mean, we need to establish a timeline. The survey is new information tonight, so I would think that we would need to make sure that we follow a timeline as well. In the January meeting, we were told that the policy would be presented to the board in February.
Well, we did not have that on the agenda, and I did specifically send out an email to each board member asking if there were anything they would like to have put on the agenda.
Yeah.
And I received nothing back.
Right, yeah, so for the next meeting then, if I'm assuming that we'll have either the policy or the survey results, or?
Yeah, we can have the drafts, we can have the policy on the agenda whenever the board would like to have it.
Okay, because then I think what you said was that we would have to vote on the policy as well.
Yeah, so it has to be a minimum of once as information and then once as a vote. And I think, Mark, you brought up a timeline, and it could be one meeting, 2 meetings, whatever the board
Sure.
would like to have in terms of a gap between when you see it and when you vote on it. But yes,
Okay.
that's
So what's
possible.
the thought on the survey? Is that we would review the survey, or that you would present the survey results and then the policy, or what is the plan there?
It can be whatever the board would like it to be in terms of timeline, in terms of which comes first.
Okay, do we have a plan for that?
My plan would be to do the survey first.
Okay, so the
Because if
next,
generally people aren't interested in it, then there's probably not a point to write up a policy.
well, Daryl has mentioned before that surveys don't really give a good, a good answer for how people
Well,
feel. We don't get much
it's-
response.
It's
But
everybody's responsibility to look at that and
Mhm.
decide. And if it's not important enough to them to respond to the survey, then I think we have their answer. They don't care.
Mhm. Okay, so can we go ahead and agree to a date of when that survey will go out?
I will work with the team and Thought Exchange to see when it would be possible to get something out. Is it something that the board would like to see internal and external constituents, or one or the other, both? What would you like to see?
Can you repeat that for me again?
For the survey, would you like it to be internal constituents, internal and external? We can do parents, we can do parents and community, so we have the ability to kind of...
Parents and community.
So, and internal constituents, so
Yeah.
we'll do all
Yeah.
groups. Okay.
And are you going to provide a sample of what the policy stands for and what the policy is as part of the survey around grades and a contract and the requirements of it?
So the policy would just be acknowledging open enrollment. The actual details of what those requirements would be would come after the policy is adopted. It's not part of the actual policy.
Sure.
But what I'll do is I'll work to put a sample survey together and get it to all the board members for feedback before we send it out to the community, so that you're getting the information that you need.
Okay, yeah, I just think 90% of people are not going to even know what it means. And some
We'll
of the feedback I've
contextualize
heard
it.
already is misconception more than truth.
Yeah, we can contextualize what open enrollment is when we put the survey together, and I'll make sure that all 5 board members are able to see it, give feedback before we actually finalize it to send out.
Okay,
Because you guys-
so could we see the survey by the end of next Friday?
Yeah, we can put that as a timeline. Because we're onboarding the new Thought Exchange platform, I want to make sure that all of the things are uploaded and the systems are synced, so that when we get the feedback, we have the feedback and we're able to disaggregate it by group. So we can say the parents said this versus community members. So we'll work with them to see if we can get a draft survey to you by next Friday.
Oh, I mean, okay, so if we see it next Friday, then it could go out.
Once it's approved, it could go out pretty simultaneously.
Okay.
So I'll get it to you as soon as possible, with next Friday as the drop dead.
Okay, that would be great. And then after that, then the survey would go out, and we would give people a week or two to respond. I don't know what you usually give.
Yeah, typically, if it's something that we typically get less engagement the longer it's out.
Sure.
And Thought Exchange has kind of told us with their platform that shorter is better. So
Okay.
probably, 1, maybe 2 weeks to get as much engagement as possible.
Okay. And then from there, then the policy, if it's moving forward, then a policy would be presented at the next board meeting.
Yeah, we'll
And
share
then-
we'll share the data with the board so that you guys can determine if you want the policy coming to you or not. But we'll get the survey out as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, and that passes.
So next, we have a resolution in support of the full implementation of the Fair School Funding Formula. So the governor has submitted his budget. This is the biennium budget season, and we are in the process of the legislature doing a final phase-in of the Fair School Funding Formula. It started 2 bienniums ago, so they started with funding it in 3 different phases. This is the 3rd and final phase-in, or it would be if it's passed in this General Assembly. So this is a resolution that Amy and I are bringing to you. It's something that a lot of districts in Southwest Ohio are passing so that as a region, we can show support toward the Fair School funding formula with our legislators. So the superintendent and treasurer recommend the board approve the resolution in support of the full implementation of the Fair School funding formula as listed.
Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? And that also passes.
And then we do have another personnel item. This is a supplemental item for a coaching position, and the superintendent recommends the board approve the personnel item as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? And that also passes.
So this evening, we have a resolution for approval. It's a resolution to file original complaints pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code 5715, which requests for Hamilton County, Ohio, to change the total valuation of real property be increased to the sale price for tax year 2024. We have 5 parcels that we are requesting to file an original complaint on. 3 are drop swaps. What these are LLCs that have sold to themselves in order to take out a mortgage. The amount of the mortgage is in excess of their total valuation, so we're requesting that Hamilton County increase their valuation up to the amount of their mortgage that they took out. This would be a one-time revenue increase if we were to win these complaints. We are not on the floor for commercial properties, so after this, the one time, because taxes are a year in arrears, so we would collect on the 2024 that's currently being paid. After that, it would go back into all commercial properties, which would just reallocate payments, because as a district, once levies are passed, it's flat. So it would just reallocate who pays what based on valuation. So I ask the board to approve filing these 5 original complaints as listed.
Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
No discussion. That also passes.
And last, we have a resolution to ratify and authorize the annual reporting and recording of notices of federal interest related to expenditures from our federal pandemic grants. The district utilized a portion of our federal pandemic grants to do HVAC improvements in various buildings, actually 12 of them, including transportation and preschool. And as a board, we need to ratify and record this notice of federal interest because it's on a real property, and since we use federal dollars to make improvements to real property, we have to record their interest into our property for 15 years. So this is just a legal requirement because we did utilize those funds for our improvements to our buildings. So with that, I ask the board to approve the resolution as listed.
Can I have a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? And that also passes without opposition.
Thank you.
So a couple of things just to update tonight. One is just to continue to talk about the biennium budget. Obviously, it has started, it's going to the legislature next, and we will continue to share with the board and the community that process. And any advocacy to kind of make sure that we're able to continue to move the Fair School funding formula forward. We also want to recognize one of our Taylor teachers, Olivia DeBevick, who was the Local 12 Teacher of the Week, so want to congratulate her. We have a lot of great teachers and great staff doing great things every day, and we appreciate when they do get recognized. Also want to acknowledge Colerain Township. Chris and I have been working with them on Safe Routes to School. It is a grant program that the township can apply for that would expand sidewalk access to some of our buildings. And so Colerain Township has been working with us, and their trustees have passed the resolution necessary to submit for the grant to the state. It would impact our buildings that are in Colerain Township, so not the high school, but Pleasant Run Elementary, Pleasant Run Middle, Taylor, Colerain L and Colerain Middle. So that is now off into the state, so hopefully we get approved for that with the township so that those projects can move forward. It again just creates better access to our facilities for our kids so that they have a safe way to get to and from school. And then just a reminder that on Friday, we do have an in-service day. Our teachers will be doing a lot of the work that we talked about earlier with the One Plan, where they're collaborating, sharing ideas, and analyzing data on what next steps are important. And then Monday is a holiday, so we will see all of the kids. They get a 4-day weekend, our staff get a 3-day weekend, and we will continue moving forward. So just a reminder of those days. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, as for board comments to the community, Nicole?
Yeah, tonight I just want to say that I took an oath to be responsible to the citizens and the students of the district. And last year, a teacher was viciously attacked, and I asked if we could come to the building to support the staff, and as a board, was told that we were not allowed to be there. And then recently have encouraged that we meet with staff to understand successes, challenges, and I think it's important that the board meets with all levels of staff at the district to engage and better support our district administration. I think it helps with setting goals and policies that we have to set. Most recently, the field house meeting for Colerain High School, I think it would be important to have board members there to observe, just as we have for teacher and transportation negotiations. We've all seen the survey results that were sent from Colerain High School, so I think we can all agree the importance of this project to move forward. And it's not to engage in the operations of the district, but to observe and to better support all levels of our district. I'm here to help move the district forward for my children and for many generations to come. And I think that having the board engaged throughout the district in transportation, walking buildings, and being participants in these meetings will help push us forward, and also to help with transparency, which we very desperately need. Thank you.
Mark? Chris?
Just for the folks who are watching on TV and who are here, about, I guess it's 4 weeks from this weekend, is the Colerain Gala. Nicole talked about the Fieldhouse project. Some of us have been involved with it for years. We have a Fieldhouse project that is going to greatly improve conditioning for all of our athletes. The facility we're using now is a shed that when I ran track at Colerain, we stored our pole vaulting equipment and our hurdles. Now, it was not quite as big, but it's subpar. And we need to build something that is attractive and makes kids want to come out for the teams and work out, get conditioned so we win games. I know it's more than just winning games, but we've been in a dry spell the last couple of years. And 20 years ago, we were the state champions in Division I football. So if you can make it, it's March the 15th. It is $75 a person. All of the money from this, the profits will go to the Fieldhouse Fund. The Fieldhouse is going to run $300,000 to $400,000, and you're going to have a great time. The gala last year was fun. You will eat like a king and queen, and you will go out of there weighing 5 pounds heavier than when you entered, I promise you. from all the goodies you will consume. So if you haven't bought a ticket yet, please consider that. Colerain Gala to benefit the field house, Saturday, March 15th, I believe 6:30. Nicole, this is when it starts. Anybody?
Yes.
6:30, okay. So if you can make it, that would be great, and that's it.
All right. And I would like to offer again congratulations to Doug Ficker for his great work in teaching government and making the Constitution hopefully popular again, and patriotism, a thing that continues out into the future. Also, the band and the dedication that they have. If you've seen the list of events they have coming up, they do a lot of work. So hopefully we can all make it to an event and support them. The one plan, it was great to hear the update on that. Obviously, we still have some work to do, but it sounds like we have some very committed administrators, principals, and building team leaders who are dedicated to this. So hopefully we continue to see improvements with that. And, you know, as board members, we're here to govern, and the administrators are here to administer. And I think sometimes we've gotten into this pattern where if we don't want to see what mom says, we're going to go ask dad. So we might not even exhaust the channels that we have to settle a problem before we say, let me go to the other guy because I might get a better answer there. In my opinion, in this district, we need to work on that. We need to use all the proper channels that we have to solve problems and not try and pit administration and board against each other. And as a board, we need not to overstep our bounds and try and be administrators. We hire staff to administer for us. We have, you know, the superintendent, we have the treasurer, we also have school principals, we have other members of the administration. They were hired to do a job, and if we try and do their job for them, then they can't do it. And then we can give mixed messages to the community and create a whole cycle of distrust. And that's what I would like to prevent. And I don't say that people can't ask questions to the board, but please make sure you follow the proper channels. I've had people, you know, send things to me and they haven't even spoken to the appropriate person yet. So we really need to encourage people to speak to the appropriate person and let them do their job, because that's what they're hired for. We're here to oversee, and if there's issues, then that's when we should step in. But we can't do their job for them. We need to let them do their job. And we don't have any other board business after the executive session, so you may feel free to exit. And a motion to adjourn.
For the executive session, this would be to discuss matters that are required to be kept confidential by federal or state laws and/or regulations, and the superintendent recommends the board approve the motion to move into executive session as listed.
So moved. Folks, I'm going to interject something here. I forgot to give the website to order your tickets for the Colerain Gala. It's wearecolerain.com. It's great to tell you to come and not tell you how to order tickets. Wearecolerain.com. And we will vote for executive session.
All right, and that passes without opposition.
And then clarity, all funds for the gala.